We'd have it down pat now with doing these live feeds every day, but clearly today is not going to be the day. Now, I thought today I'd just have a quick chat with you about sleep problems. Lots of people contact me, obviously daily, about sleep problems and about what's the best thing to do for their child with sleep problems. Now, I'm just going to do a very quick little feed on sleep problems because I've got my own problems today. One is we're going on holidays in a few weeks and Kieran's passport has arrived and his name is spelt wrong. So of course that is not ideal. Having Kieran's passport arrive and his name be spelt wrong isn't going to work and we're not going to be able to travel. So I have to pop to the post office and try and get that fixed this afternoon. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about sleep problems with is, obviously lots of people contact us and they say, you know, how they're on a wait list for a sleep clinic and they this and that, and you know, what should they do and is there anything you can do in the meantime? And then we give them some tips which helps them, and often they don't have to go to a sleep clinic because we solve the problems. So how do we solve the problems? Well, it always worries me, people booking in and going off to get advice and using a one-size-fits-all approach. I know my approach is slightly one-size-fits-all because I believe that every baby can learn to sleep and every baby needs a routine and most babies start with the same routine. Yes, that's the case, but we do adjust the routines for each child and we do teach you this in the online advice area. And we do find that second or third children in each family might need a different routine. They might move up the routines faster. So yes, it's a sort of one-size-fits-all routine, but it also isn't. Now, I thought that if I just chatted to you today, you might get some tips out of what I'm saying, and you might be able to go away and solve your little one's issues just by listening to the various tips I'm going to give you today. Now, I'm not taking questions, so please, unless you have a question about what I'm actually talking about, please don't be popping your questions up. If you keep the thumbs up coming up and you keep just saying, hi, I'm here, and say where you're from, I will keep talking so I know people are listening. But I'm not going to be taking individual questions. Now, what is different about Save Our Sleep is when people contact us because their children are having sleep issues, we don't just say, right, put them in their cot, teach them how to sleep. And some people think we do. So some people think that if their child's having a sleep problem, they grab the book, they look at how to settle the baby for that age, and that's what they should do. In a way this is correct, but in a way this is incorrect. Sally just said she's watching from New Zealand, so hi Sally. Where's anyone else watching from? So why is it incorrect to just grab the book and follow the guide for the sleep problems? Well, let me try and explain. With my approach, you need to look at the whole approach. You need to look at the whole routine. You cannot just look at the settling advice, nor can you just follow the routine for your baby's age. You need to look at the whole picture. So if you came along and joined the online advice area and you had a baby of 8 weeks old or under, and your baby was having short sleeps, so sleeps of 1 hour or less, or your baby was catnapping, we would get you to move your baby to the next routine and see if that helped them. We would also look at, is your baby hungry or is your baby cold? Now, why would a baby of under 8 weeks be hungry? Well, 1, they might have tongue tie. 2, you might not have enough milk to satisfy them. 3, you might be bottle feeding them with a baby formula, like you might be giving them a HA formula or a formula that's not suitable for them or not filling them up. You might be breastfeeding them, but if they're over 6 weeks, you might be on the mini pill, and that can cause your milk to be very liquidy. You also might be on probiotics. We find that probiotics can stop babies from drinking properly and can cause sleep problems. We don't exactly know why. Of course, there is hundreds of mums out there using probiotics or giving their children probiotics with no sleep problems, but I see the ones with sleep problems. Your baby might be sucking on a dummy. Sucking on a dummy causes your baby's digestive system to work faster, which means that your baby gets hungrier. Sucking on a dummy causes reflux because they're sucking, they're digesting the food really quickly, and then they've got an empty tummy and they're refluxing. All babies reflux, but I have never found reflux to be the cause of a sleep problem. If somebody comes to me with a baby with reflux, I pop the baby on my routine, I use the correct bedding, and then I usually can stop the reflux, because what happens is, if the baby is not warm enough to sleep, the baby is not slept well enough to feed. If the baby cannot feed correctly, the baby cannot sleep correctly. We add the correct bedding, then the baby is warm enough to sleep, and then the baby is rested enough to feed. And once a baby can take big feeds, that helps the reflux to disappear or stay at bay. Some children have got really, really severe reflux. They need medication, they need to be in hospital, they need to have all sorts of tests and x-rays. That is different. I'm just talking about babies with normal reflux, where it's refluxing and they're a bit unsettled. The routine and the bedding can help, and getting rid of a dummy can help with that reflux. Now that's young babies. What happens if we've sort of got a baby of about 4 months? Then we would look at what they're eating. I introduce solids at 16 weeks. I find that at 16 weeks, babies need solids introduced into their diet to help them sleep well. Now, if at 16 weeks a baby decreases their milk intake, so all babies start cutting back on what they're drinking at about 4 months, about 16 weeks. So that's why I introduce solids, because they cut back on what they're drinking. People contact me and say, my baby has suddenly stopped drinking well because I introduced solids. It's like, yeah, but even if you didn't introduce solids, they would still not be drinking well. Other people contact me and say, my baby has suddenly stopped drinking. If they're bottle fed, they can see the drop. If they're breastfed, they suspect that there's a big drop in what they're drinking at about 16 weeks and 4 months. Now, we know that this happens to these babies even if you haven't introduced solids. So I introduce solids at this age. Now, I would never say with this baby of about 4 months, let's just put them in the cot, teach them how to sleep. I would look at their diet, I would look at their solids. If they're 5 months, for example, they need to be having at 8 o'clock in the morning a big bowl of rice cereal mixed with fruit, mixed with infant formula. I suggest A2. And we have lots of A2 in stock. We don't run out. We're not like the supermarkets. If you need it, we have it. We do not run out. And we're also cheaper than the supermarkets. So with A2, I would add A2 infant formula and fruit and rice cereal in the morning, a big bowl of that, followed by a big bowl of just fruit. At lunchtime, I would be giving them a big bowl of vegetables mixed with either express breast milk, and I should have said in the morning express breast milk or formula, but not water. A simple thing like putting the water in instead of the express breast milk or the formula can cause sleep problems, so we look at that. So breakfast, big bowl of fruit mixed with rice cereal mixed with the milk your baby has, followed by a bowl of fruit. Lunch, a big bowl of vegetables mixed with, and when I'm talking about a bowl, some 4-month-old babies will have one of these. Some 4-month-old babies will have a bowl this size. Well, maybe not quite this size, but to about here. Now these bowls, if you haven't seen them, are absolutely fantastic. They're the Weinmeister bowls, and the lid is sealed on. You squeeze it to take the lid off. They are absolutely, and they go in the freezer, and I actually made a load of fish pies for the family in them, or Nathan did actually, made a load of fish pies and we froze them for us in these the other night. Anyhow, they're a great bowl. But so, they're the Weinmeister bowls. But so, a big bowl of vegetables at lunchtime, mixed with rice cereal, mixed with the milk your baby has, followed by a big bowl of fruit, again mixed with rice cereal and milk at lunch and dinner. So we'd look at the food, and we'd look at never restricting the amount of milk a baby has, so always feeding them till they're full. Now, let's say you come to me with a baby of about 8 months. Again, we're not just going to say, let's pop this baby in the cot, teach them how to sleep. A, I don't do control crime, but B, I don't do my settling techniques until everything else is looked at. So we look at the aid. Are they sucking on a dummy to go to sleep? Are they using a comforter to go to sleep, which is good? Are they being breastfed to sleep? Are they being bottle fed to sleep? Are they being rocked to sleep? These are the type of things I look at with an 8-month-old baby. What's their bedding like? Have they got the correct bedding? Did this parent know that the mattress protector is the key to the bedding guide? You either use the Save Our Sleep mattress protector or you use a cotton towel. Then you can add the correct amount of layers. People often say, wool, why can't I use wool? Because wool is warm. We think it's the weight of the blankets on the baby that they like, not necessarily the warmth. So when you put a few wool blankets on, or if you use a merino wool sleeping bag, your baby's going to be warm, but they're not going to have the weight. So that's why we say no wool. So we look at that type of thing with a baby sort of about 8 months. we look at it with all babies, but I'm just using an example of a baby about 8 months. We would look at, have they got enough protein in the diet? Are they eating a big thing of chicken or meat at dinner and lunch and dinner? Are they having a really good breakfast? At this age we could have porridge. These are the type of things we look at. We don't just go, the baby has a sleep problem, we're going to teach the baby how to sleep, let's throw the baby or put the baby in the cot, teach them how to sleep. That's what they do at some sleep clinics, not all of them. A lot of the sleep clinics follow my book, follow my settling advice, which is fantastic. I think there's 5 now in Australia that follow my book and my settling advice, which is great, but we look at the whole picture. Please, please look at the whole picture. Please do not just say your baby doesn't sleep and you're going to pop them in their cot and you're going to teach them how to sleep. So I just wanted to explain to you today with sleep problems. We look at the whole picture. We look at, if your baby's catnapping, if your baby's early rising, these are signs of a routine change. Your baby might want more awake time. The time of your baby's first sleep in the morning affects the time that they wake up the following morning. We look at all of these things. We do not just simply look at the settling advice. So that's what I wanted to touch base on today. Just make sure that you all knew that if you had a baby or a friend with a baby with a sleep problem, you don't just grab the book and go to how to solve a sleep problem. It's the whole approach. The food, the diet, things like if you have a baby on stage 2 infant formula that can cause night waking. We look at all of that. Megan has just asked, if you breastfeed, can you use formula to mix in with the cereal? That's a great question, Megan. If you are breastfeeding, yes, you can add A2 formula into the meals, but don't chop and change. So don't do breast milk at some meals and then infant formula at other meals, because this can make a baby hungrier. Chopping and changing their diet can make them actually hungrier. So I would say breastfeed all the feeds, or even if you did 1 formula feed a day, that's fine. But in the food, always put your infant formula if that's what you choose to do. Don't chop and change. So if you're going to do a mixture, then always do breast milk in the morning in breakfast, always do formula in lunch and dinner, or always do formula breakfast and dinner, and always do express breast milk at lunch. So to answer your question, yes, you can put formula into the food. Also, it helps with allergies the more your children are exposed to. So yes, you can add the formula into the food, but do everything else breast milk, or you can do a mixture, but make sure you don't chop and change. Babies don't like it. If you do the dream feed 3 nights a week with formula and the other nights a week with breast milk, this can upset them. If you add infant formula to the diet, you need to do it at the same time every day. Now, I hope that you've got some tips out of this feed today. Sorry that the camera isn't in exactly the right place and that it was a bit iffy at the start when you were upside down and back to front and whatever else. Thank you for tuning in, and I will take more questions in the next few days, but I'm going to run off now and try and sort out Kieran's passport. Thank you. Bye.